really with this podcast, I love to be able to, bring you on, people like yourself, and highlight brands that deserve the recognition. You're doing everything by your moral compass. It's not you're going out there and like trying to make a bunch of money.
And I've been doing Okey Doke for over 7 years now. And
that's a long period.
It's never changed.
We're still under 10,000 followers.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Substance Podcast. I'm your host, Liam.
And I'm your other host, Matt.
And today we have, once again, another guest. We actually mentioned him a bunch in the last episode. We have Dustin Williams with us today from Okey Doke. And if you guys are interested in brand-related stuff, and obviously cars and how it ties together, we are going to talk a lot about brand stuff today. And we're super excited to have Dustin here. So thank you for coming down from Alabama to do this.
Glad to be here.
Coming up from Alabama.
Coming up, my bad. Is it up though, or is it? No, it is up. It is up. I was gonna say, isn't it across? No, it's not.
It's like a quick 2-hour ride.
Yeah. My geography's not the best. It's been a while, but
just derailed the whole fucking.
But yeah, this has been an interesting week since the last episode, which I hope you guys enjoyed that. We had a blast with Mason, and I'm sure he'll be back on here again for another episode where we're going to talk about stuff not related to Riverside, more car stuff, and there's so many things we could talk about with Mason related to cars. He's got quite a history in it, so we'll have him back on another point, and hopefully you guys are going to come out to Riverside. And that'll tie in a little bit today because we're going to talk about some stuff with Okey Doke and Riverside. But yeah, Matt, what's new? What's going on this week, or has been going on this week?
Well,
you're gonna say going to work and going to sleep.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the general answer. That's the general answer. Yeah, I'm like I said last time, I'm just kind of in one of those.
Well, we did break that cycle.
Right,
we did break that cycle Friday and Saturday this weekend.
Oh, yeah. So we went to Southern Fresh this weekend. I honestly don't remember if in the last 2 minutes Liam mentioned that, but
no, I have
we
not.
did go down to Atlanta for Southern Fresh, and it was awesome. And frankly, that's the first time that I've gone to a car event that's not Riverside in literally probably the better half of like 2 years. And it was...
Dude, it was
awesome.
It was a blast. I have been, like, since I moved here, the only thing that I want to do now, like, in terms of car shows, I just want to go to car shows with my people. And, like, Benny and Matt and, like, my good close friends are, like, the only people I care about going to car shows with. I'm kind of over, going and having to hold, like, short conversations with, a million different people that I've known over the years. Like, not that, I hate anybody. I just want to go and like have fun with my friends.
In this house, he hates you.
I just want to go and have fun with like my friends. And so this weekend was like, I think the first time we've really done that besides Riverside. We didn't have any goal. We just went to Southern Fresh, which is an event that I have been aware of for like a very long time, and now that I've been, I'm really upset at myself that I hadn't been before now. The quality of cars was amazing. Like, we showed up early before roll-in had like officially started, and the parking lot outside had a ton of cars, ready to roll in. We got chatting with a few people. I have to highlight this car specifically, but there is a Nissan Maxima that I will have a video coming out on soon that is so sick. This guy's done a full F82 bumper merge on this car, and I've seen that bumper merge be done on a couple different chassis, and oftentimes it doesn't flow well, doesn't work. This car was done very, very well, and I was super stoked to see it.
It was a super cool balance, a balance that I really like in like any car, where it's got like the style. Okay, it's not even in that particular car. It wasn't even VIP GT, but it's like he had the perfect balance of like I want to say elegance, but like VIP-ness.
Yeah. VIP-ness. We should make that into a sticker,
Oh
dude.
my god! It had a perfect balance of being a VIP car with VIP styling.
Yo, can we put that? Can we make
that? Clip that.
Can we make a VIP club, but it's like an ironic thing where it's called VIPness? Dustin, you want to make us stickers?
Yeah, we can make it.
It's like one of those clubs where you make banners, but it's a really ironic word, and it kind of makes the
Oh
people
yeah,
look
like
dumb.
they do in Japan. So
Yeah, so the club is called VIPness, and you're going to run a massive windshield banner.
this has Verone talking about throbbing affinity vibes. It's the same energy right now. Okay. So what I was trying to get out is it had really cool VIP styling cues, but it was like aggressive.
Yes.
Like with the M3 bumpers, it was like really aggressive. It's kind of like you were talking about how you had never really paid enough attention to the
Not
body
at
lines
all, dude.
of that car, where it's like it's kind of like it's not tacky, but it's kind of like a pseudo like widened car just because of the body lines.
It's
going
got some
down
very
the back.
like bulbous arches to it, and I'd never noticed, and I really love it when I come across like a car that is cool enough on a unique chassis that like I look around it in so much detail that I'm like, wow, all of a sudden Maximas are cool to me. Like if you can do that with a car that most people will just overlook, you've really achieved something there. So I was big stoked to see that car. It was static on 20s, real minimal amounts of camber. I want to say it was like -8 degrees. Thing was super low, real good fitment, real clean, and it was painted a Toyota blue color. It's like a really one of those like pastel colors you probably see on a truck.
It's the one on the Tacoma.
Yeah, but
Like
just
the really opaque.
overall, that made my day. Along with just seeing a lot of really, really high-end cars and catching up with people at that event. So shout out to Southern Fresh, and I think we'd definitely, this is the first time we're going to say it, we'd definitely like to have, what's the guy's name from Southern Fresh? Joe? Yeah, we definitely would like to have Joe on here at some point to talk about that and some of the history of it. So.
Completely divorced from that, I rode a mechanical bull.
Oh yeah,
people seem to be really entertained by that on like Instagram and shit. So
yeah,
just wanted to throw that in there.
Friday night we went out with the boys, which it's been a minute since then. Like we're all kind of, we're not old men, we're just boring. Like we just stay home most of the time. So like all the boys going out to the bar and just kind of like fucking around was really fun.
And not having to worry about COVID.
Yeah,
we've basically all had it at this point.
Yeah, and I've discovered I'm an Olympic ski ball champion. I can do ski ball so fucking fast you can't even see it. Finkel got such a kick out of watching me.
I just got one in every single one of the holes. I promise.
No, I literally just throw them so fucking fast.
Trust
I'm not
me.
looking. But it was just really funny. But yeah, we had a blast. It was real fun. And it actually, I said this to Ben last night. It was cool that we, went and stayed down there Friday night, did the show Saturday, and then we came home. Last night when I was chilling on the couch, it felt like it was a Sunday. It was like, oh yeah, we're going back to work tomorrow. Like, it's time to sit down and actually like focus on things. And I was like, wait, no, it's Saturday night. We still have Sunday. We're still doing this. Like, honestly, I'm going to do that for more events because it felt like I had a longer weekend because of it. Mm-hmm. But anyways, other than that, I just bought a new car, which you guys, if you've been following along on the YouTube, I just went down to Florida and picked up a 93 Toyota Crown Majesta from my buddy Logan. Super stoked on the car. I'm going to point out the elephant in the room, which some of you guys already have on the YouTube video. I did not do it to spite Matt. I would never do that. Obviously, we had an episode of the podcast where Matt actually did kind of open up a little bit about his experience with the Majesta. And Matt, I mean, I'll let you touch on it a little bit and talk about it.
When he had kind of started like talking, when his friend kind of like told him that he had it and, he was offering it to him for X price, he was telling me about it, and I was like, he told me about it. And so, of course, immediately, I've never really been, okay, let me put it this way. I have never considered myself, and I've certainly never wanted to be that guy where I get, like, jealous of something my friends have or they're doing. Like, I want to be happy for my friends, you know what I mean? That's just the kind of person that I am. It's the kind of person I want to be. But when he told me about that and he told me about like the deal his friend was going to offer him, I was just like, did it have to even be the same fucking two-tone? Like, God, hey, I was like,
I own the rights to white silver two-tone now.
Fuck it. So, as much as I didn't want to be, I was just kind of salty. Like, yeah. I really did. And I even, honestly, me and Liam communicate really well as friends. So I even told him, I was like, look, man, you know me well enough to know.
Just buy any other car.
You know me well enough to know that I wouldn't want to be like this. But, like, yeah, like it, you know, it sucks. It kind of sucks because, like, that car was, I mean, if I'm being totally upfront, like, it was kind of a big part of my identity during the time that I had it because, like, I'll just say it once and get it out of my system so I don't say it whenever we talk about this. But I had a Crown Majesta in 2017. I'm like a Crown Majesta hipster. Like, I had that car before, like, anybody knew or cared what it was. Because to most people, they're like, oh, cool LS. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. But, yeah, whatever. That was a car that is unbelievably special to me. It you know, reminds me of kind of getting through adversity at that you know, season of my life and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a really important car to me. So when I have been going through some stuff recently, like I said, it was just kind of like I really didn't want to be salty, but it just kind of been like, well, this is happening, and now Liam's buying my fucking car, like all this kind of stuff. And
yeah.
So it sucked, and at first I was kind of salty, and I felt bad for him because the day that he brought it home was probably like the worst possible timing that he could have shown up with it because it was just an unbelievably rough day for me. So when I came home
and you see that,
and I saw that in the driveway, and then he came up to like fist bump, and he was like, "What's up, dude? How was your day?" And I was like, I didn't even look at him, and I was just like, absolutely fucking awful.
I don't think you looked at me or talked to me for like 2 days, and I was like, fuck.
I just went straight and said, and the thing was, I had to go back and clarify to him that how I was.
Yeah.
It really didn't have anything to do with the car. Like I said, it was just poorly timed. But all that to say, Liam, being the great friend that he is, even told me before he got the car, like, look, man, like, I get it. And I know that you know that I would not, you know, do this to, like, be shitty. It's just, honestly, it's a really good deal. It would honestly be a really good investment for me, if nothing else. Like, and I just, you know, I really like the car, and it just makes sense at this price to get, you know, the car has like 8,000 miles. It has a 1UZ. It's the two-tone, you know, that's like my thing. It's just kind of stupid for me to not get this as opposed to spending the same, if not more money to get an LS with a bunch more, you know.
And I did try to look around and find other options. I'd looked at a couple other import chassis and some of the Nissan options. I just didn't feel comfortable buying and daily driving and putting miles on for any length of time because I don't know the chassis, I don't know the motor. Like a 1UZ, I'm very comfortable with that. So yeah, it was definitely an awkward position to be in, and I kind of avoided like not giving too many updates to Matt because I just felt awful about it. But after we had the conversation and you kind of explained where you were at with it, and obviously, you know, I don't feel that great about it, but in my head, to me, this is still like anything that is mine is yours, really. And so I threw you the keys, and we drove around that night for like 2 hours.
I want to do the drama when I got in the car. Like, I was sitting there, so he hands me the keys, and I was just kind of sitting there for a second. I was like, okay, let's go. And so, like, I walked outside. I was such a fucking drama queen when all this happened. Like, I'm just, like, sitting there looking at the door, and I went to open the door, and it's one of those things where it's just, like, I did it every day for so long. It was just, like, muscle memory. You know what I mean? So that was, like, I was like, oh, here we go. And so I sit down, and I put the key in the ignition. I just kind of sat there for a second. And so I turned it on, and the digital dash popped up, and I was just like, and so for that one moment, it was kind of tough, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to fucking drive this thing, whatever. But he's just like, dude, come on, like let's just go.
I said that, you know, memories, looking back, nostalgia doesn't have to be a negative thing. Like, you can look back and, like, associate this with something from your past and it just be a positive memory. As much as it sucks that it ended and, you know, the car ended up getting wrecked and you don't have it anymore, but, like, think about this as a way of, like, you can still live vicariously through, like, having that car. You can still, like, go take it out. You know, when you're having a bad day, you can go fucking drive the car, get it out. And that's basically what we did.
Yeah.
We just drove around for 2 hours, listened to synthwave music and talked about the fucking car, and I think it was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And then
it was really good.
Joke's on you because you love driving it. He's now my chauffeur driver, so I really bought the thing so Matt can drive it, and I sit in the back and actually take advantage of the thing.
But yeah,
it's kind of a win-win, really.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable there for, like, leading up to it, but it's cool, man. It was really, really cool to, you know, be able to be driving one of those and begin and be on that side of the car sitting in a rolling sofa. So
yeah, it's a great car. But if you guys want to go see the car, there's a bunch of YouTube videos on it. So if you feel like checking that thing out, you can. But anyway, enough about us. We've definitely dragged on this intro. Dustin, please, you know, give us a short introduction to you. You know, what you do, where you're from, and your brand, of course.
Yeah, Dustin Williams. I'm 28 years old from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm the designer and owner of OkeyDoke Brand. And I've worked for Chase Base. That's about it. I own a 1JZ IS 300 and a bunch of
That's about
scooters.
it. You just kind of forgot about your car
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
scooters.
My car and the scooters.
Yeah. So Chase Base, what is Chase Base for anybody that doesn't know?
Chase Base is a company geared for mainly aftermarket, you know, products and stuff, but we manufacture and assemble fluid assembly products for race cars. So power steering kits, clutch lines, brake lines, you name it.
And you guys do a lot of stuff with like a lot of well-known drivers and companies out there. So you have a list of names you could drop, so it makes it sound fucking super cool, because it is.
I mean, we've worked with LZ before. We've worked with Hoonigan on handbrakes and did some collaborations with them on that a few years ago. Worked with Alec Robbins. That's one that we're working with now. James Dean. Already said LZ.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, just a lot of big names out there, and it's really cool. And I've seen a lot of stuff with Chase Bays over the years, because, you know, we have other friends that work there and stuff too, and you guys have grown a ton, and it's awesome to see. But yeah, anyways, Okey Doke. What is Okey Doke? Yeah, for anybody that is listening that, you know, has maybe never heard of it, doesn't know, if you have a way to round up what it is the Okey Doke is, and you know what you've set out to kind of achieve with that brand.
Okey Doke is just a brand that I made, you know, I guess 6 to 7 years ago, just to showcase my artwork in a way that I can.
So fucking crazy at this point.
Yeah,
I know, it's weird. It's weird to say 7 years. I've been doing it as long as I've been at Chase Base.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's just a way for me to kind of put my artwork out there and just market to the car community. Just do things that I love and enjoy, and just kind of play on that a little bit. Yeah,
and I mean, that's awesome. And I've been seeing Okey Doke stuff, I think, for the majority of the time that you've been doing it. I think I first came across Okey Doke stuff back in, I want to say it was it's probably 2017 at like Stupid Cold.
Probably, yeah. That was we only did one Stupid Cold, and it was 2017. So
yeah. And
I think that was the year we put a banner on Cody Mason's.
Yeah, that's how I ended up.
There was a bunch of.
Yeah, that's how I came across it, was because I was close friends with Cody. I was very much in the middle of that whole debacle with that car and the previous owner and all of the just everything related to that was quite crazy. But yeah, I remember, I hate this now, but I remember my first impression of Okey Doke was that I saw the hoodie, I think, that Cody was wearing. I was like, oh, it's a dope hoodie, it's a dope design. I was like, what the fuck is Okey Doke? I was like, what a weird name. Yeah. And then I started seeing stuff pop up more and more, and like the designs, I was like, it really like clicked in my head that like the name was just it was just a cool name that like
it
worked
doesn't have
for
to
stuff.
make sense.
Yeah,
It didn't have to be correlated.
Yeah, I think that at the time, like I was still really fucking immature about a lot of stuff. Like I'd just seen it and was like, what the fuck is this, dude? It's like, no. And then, like I'd see it pop up more and more, and I was like, man, these designs are actually really cool, and like the fucking name does not need to make sense. And I think I overanalyzed.
Looking at you, LEP Automotive.
Yeah, fucking awful name. Who would do that?
that was me in the beginning, is I wanted to overanalyze everything, and then I learned that just putting a name out there and just putting everything you can behind it is what's best.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I've kind of done a similar thing too with like I've gotten past the fact that the name for LEP is not great. I don't like it. It's not the best thing to do a lot of stuff with, but I always try to like work on designs that speak for themselves, and obviously that's been a huge thing for you. And
I just want to put this out there because among many things that I really, really like about Dustin, I think one of the reasons that we get along so well is all of your stuff is original.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Everything comes from your hands.
Yep.
And it's like that. That's always something that I've really admired about you because, as you well know, like I am kind of along the same wavelength. In my case, it kind of ended up to my detriment a little bit. You've been able to stay out of that rut. Mm-hmm. You know, your designs always hold up, and it's just very. Anybody that I've ever talked to that knows enough about Okey Doke and knows you. We can always come to an agreement on the same thing that like your designs and what you put out are very distinctly your style.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really cool fucking style, dude. Cool. It's super cool.
Makes it feel good.
Well, I mean, you should, man.
Yeah.
You should be proud. Oh, just wait. Me and Liam are gonna try and fucking stick it to you.
Are you ready for that?
You gotta keep it together, man. Because no, but what? And you know, here in a little while, I'll talk about how me and Dustin like met, because for anybody that remembers from the episode with Mason, this guy single-handedly kind of like was the one who like hit me with the train that like Not Fast had started moving and gaining any kind of traction whatsoever, because we came to Style Driven. Me and Tyler were there, and we got out of my Impreza. And we, like, had not even made it to the door of the skate park. And you, like, came around the corner. You're like, oh, shit, it's the Not Fast guys. And me and him were like, what the fuck? Somebody knows about this besides us? Like,
well, I wanted to know who was coming in and out. I wanted to know, like, people that were coming that I haven't met yet. And I wanted to go out of my way to try to introduce myself and say, hey, you know, this is what we're all about. Nice to meet you. Who are you? You know,
look what you did.
And connect with people.
I mean, that's important.
That's why I wanted to do, you know, Style Driven and all that stuff.
Which I definitely want to get into that. We can get into that now if you'd like to. The style, since we're on the topic. Yeah. So Style Driven was an event that you had done only very small. 2016
and 2017.
Okay, so it only happened twice. And for me, I've seen the stuff that came from that. The first one was at a skate park. It was an indoor skate park.
Yep, that was a skate park that me and some friends built off of like church money, basically. Like
that is super cool. And I remember seeing it because that dude in blue, David Patterson, made a video on it.
We were stoked on that. Me, Kate, and a few other guys that were working on the whole thing were like, oh, like, how can we get this bigger or whatever? And I think he had reached out and said, hey, heard you guys are having this crazy car show. I want to come and video it and be a part of it. And I was like, dude, fuck yeah, absolutely. Come out.
And he has like a little bit of a skating background anyway, and so it kind of made sense for him. And my perspective, I come from action sports too, and I was like, shit, there's a fucking show inside of a skate park. I want to go to that. Like, that's so my thing. Like, visually, everything looks really cool. Like, I'd love to shoot something like that. I'd love to find a way to, like, incorporate, like, the sports in the video, too. Like, I thought that was such a sick idea. And then, was it 2017 is when you did the one at the parking garage in Alabama. You want to talk about that a little bit? Because that was a sick show.
It was very fun.
For everybody else, I'm sure. But
it was very fun to put on. Very, very stressful afterwards and even leading up. I think I stayed up for like 3 days straight, like cutting vinyl and like making sure all the signage and stuff was right and making sure everybody was on the same page. And it was really fun, and it felt really good to kind of just end it after that too. Based off the negative remarks and stuff I had just regarding You know, we only had 50 spots at the top to kind of showcase all of the, you know, top tier cars we wanted to.
Sure.
But, you know, with still getting your name out there and all that stuff, it's really hard to market to those cars and get people to come out from out of state. So I wanted to make it look big and feel big, and I did exactly that. And we had like, you know, 2 times the amount of people actually show up and park. But, you know, it made them mad because they were late to enroll, and then we had like really nice cars within the parking deck, and we had a lot of flack for it. So,
but I mean, I guess that comes with doing stuff like that. If you do put on an event and the very first time you do it, it is like a success in terms of like the cars that show up are really top tier, then it's definitely going to upset people, because then people feel like it's way harder for them to get involved with it. But I don't see that as a negative thing.
I'm not.
Well, we kept it limited without actually wanting to be limited. Like, we wanted everybody to come and hang out, and that's why I like Riverside so much. Is like, it's all inclusive. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in the show lot or under the pavilion.
Hey, William,
still have fun.
give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go cut that fan in another direction because I can hear the air passing by the mic.
The parking garage meet, you had it limited to being 50 spots at the top.
Yeah, there was only 50. Well, there's a little over 50 at the top, but we were only able to fit 50 up there comfortably. Like, spaced out enough for photos and everything.
Did you have a bunch of vendors and stuff up top too, or is that spread out throughout the garage?
We had about 6 or 7 vendors. We had Riverside. We had us. And then we had Stick and Wrap came. I can't remember the others. Chase Base set up.
Yep.
But it was just kind of like a small booth thing. Revolution Inc. set up, I think, which is like a local tattoo shop.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember.
What are
very small, but it just seemed very big, large.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me when I saw Chris's video that came out from Chris Nalswanga. Is that how you say his last name?
Yes.
Nalswanga.
Yeah.
From Just Cause. I was stoked.
He
I was
killed it.
stoked on the way that show looked.
Yeah.
Like, aesthetically, I was like, man, this just looks like it's a really good time. And I don't know if that's just me. I get very drawn into the events that look aesthetically pleasing. But I'd love to hear from you. You know, what was your approach? Like, what is it that you were wanting to do going into hosting that event, and the skate park one the year before?
Yeah. So for the skate park thing, skate park was closing down, so we wanted to kind of just get together and
it was just like, hey, we have the chance to do this.
And then it turned into, we just got some friends to gather and park inside and just hang out. And we're like, well, let's make an event out of it. So then we just made an event out of it, and it worked out. And then for number 2, in the parking garage, I just wanted to do something really cool downtown, very scenic, maybe above or below or whatever. But we landed on the parking garage. I wanted like really cool Nabori flags everywhere to kind of make it look authentic.
Oh yeah.
And like, so the flags are waving. You got vendors up top, and everybody's hanging out up at the top, and it was a really, really cool vibe.
Yeah, no, that show, just from the stuff that I'd seen from the video and pictures and stuff, like I remember like sunset shots and stuff, and everything about it just looked real appealing.
We wanted it to kind of start a little later and then kind of roll into the sunset. It's October, so it gets late,
which is perfect. Earlier. And like a parking garage for me is just like the OG. Like, this is a car meet. Like, it feels very authentic. It gives you that, the kind of thing that you would aspire for, like when you're growing up watching all these fucking Fast and Furious movies and stuff like that.
That was
like,
the idea.
It ties into that, but it also brings modern day culture and all of these Japan inspired builds, and like you said, you wanted Nobori flags and all that, give it that authentic feel, and I got that from it. And I'm bummed that I couldn't attend when it happened. I was still living up in Detroit at the time, so that would have been a real long trip. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've bugged you about it a couple of times since then, because obviously it's been years. Is there going to be a comeback for Style Driven?
There will be. Birmingham just wouldn't and hasn't allowed anything of that caliber to happen again, especially since COVID and all that kind of stuff. So we plan on doing another one for sure. I'll have a better team next time, and everybody will be all hands-on and not walking around not doing their job. So
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's hard.
Part of it, though.
Yeah, like Mason talked about that with him, having a good team for Riverside. That is one of the crucial parts, I think, of something like that. And but no,
and these are all my friends, and they all wanted to volunteer.
Yeah, exactly.
But becoming a volunteer means you have duties, but
there's no incentive to work because you're not getting paid.
If
I've
you can
run
feed
into that.
them and pay them, then they're there to do a job. And Mason made a really good point the other night when we were talking on the phone. And we'll get into conversations where we're talking like 2 to 3 hours, and we don't realize it until we're like, hey, I got to go to bed. I got work in the morning, so we'll talk a bunch about stuff like that. So he's really helpful as far as, kind of leaning me into wanting to do another show in Birmingham, which it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not this year, but next year, and I'll probably shoot for October.
Dude, I really hope that can work out, and I would love to help out wherever I can.
We might even do it at Chase Bays. There's plenty of room of it.
Oh yeah, that would be really sick. And as far as style driven and what it was and what I've seen of it is 100% like the type of thing that I aspire for too in an event. I don't care about the fancy shows as much where it's trophies and all of this stuff, and like I really, really enjoy just that grassroots feeling, and I got that very much yesterday.
I want to focus
Roots.
on the vibe. I don't really want to focus on the largeness of it and how many people are going to come.
Right.
I want to make people feel comfortable and want them to come back, and I want it to be very eventful and memorable for them to, remember something like that.
Right, and I think it's all too easy too with event stuff to like get carried away with the monetization of it too. Like it's so easy to make a bunch of money off of events because if you hype it up enough, like people are going to come. You can hype it up even more and get more and more people to come, make a bunch of money off of ticket sales, merchandise sales, and whatever. But the impression that I've always gotten from you with that was like, that doesn't fucking matter. I get the same thing with Mason. It's just like, you guys do it because you want like a cool space for enthusiasts to come and hang out, and like the vibes, like you said, it's just like it's a good time. I
literally made zero money. Like whatever I put into it is what I made back, and that's fine with me. I'm not trying to make a living off of it. Yeah,
no, and I think that's awesome, and I really do appreciate a lot of events that do that. There's far and few of them out there, and I think some of them end up falling off, and they're not able to come back because of that side of it.
Honestly, maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but like I feel like a lot of the really, really good events like that, where people approach it like that, do end up, whether it's fading away or having to take a break or do whatever because of that. I feel like a lot of stuff in this, I don't want to call it a sector. That sounds like really corporate and weird. But the point is it's kind of like you're doing right now. Like you had to take a hiatus, because of life stuff, but like because you just kind of broke even on it.
It's hard
to a certain degree. Like you're gonna have to sacrifice making any considerable amount of money for the purpose of doing it exactly as you want and doing it more because you love it and for the experience of other people, as opposed to being like, yeah, I'll put like 80% of myself in like the things that I want for this. I'll put 80% into it, but that other 20%, let's put towards like monetizing off of this.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, that's kind of sad. And honestly, that can really be applied to like any kind of endeavor, really.
Any kind of business venture.
Here, because me and you have had, sometimes I felt bad because me and you have had like really good, some of the best conversations that I've had with somebody, because like I said, I consider you a good friend, and I think that we've built that over time, literally almost at shows, because we never lived in the same area, so we're not hanging out that often. Yeah. But I think, in the conversations that we've had where I'm basically taking up your lunch break at the booth, it's just me and you have always been very much on the same page about that, where it's like, it is a struggle. If you're going to have something, whether it's a brand or a show or, both, whatever it may be, I think if you want to be realistic about what you're doing going in, like, you kind of have to come to terms with the fact that you're never going to be able to rest on your laurels, because like if you're wanting to do something that's really original, the fact is you're going to be competing with a bunch of people that are not doing anything original, but what they're doing is popular. They're going to be able to ride that.
Cash grabs.
Yeah.
We people like us are not going to be able to ride that because we don't. Not only do
but I'm also not going to put myself in that situation to be like that because I could quickly, focus on other things in the brand and try to, do like Broken Hearts or whatever and sell thousands of shirts or whatever. But I'm not going to do that because it's not what I'm in it for.
Yeah, right. It's not
I'm in
you.
it for authenticity. I'm in it because I enjoy putting my products out there and I enjoy that it's 100% authentic.
Yeah, and the big thing for me, like the reason we highlight this so much on this podcast with this stuff whenever we talk about brands, car shows, stuff like that, is because, I'm all for just educating the consumers. It's all too easy for a lot of kids that get into the car scene when they're really young. They just see, all the flashy stuff. They see the stuff that's like hyped up, and brands like yourself, like mine, can quite easily get overlooked because we're doing stuff it's all original content. It's all stuff that only we will do. We won't go outside of our morals to like do cash grabs or do anything that is going to just garner crazy attention just to make sales. And so it's all too easy for people to walk right past something that if they had actually taken the time to realize what it is, who's involved, and how much, passion and hard work goes into it, like they would appreciate that. And so really with this podcast, I love to be able to, bring you on, people like yourself, and highlight brands that deserve the recognition. You're doing everything by your moral compass. It's not you're going out there and like trying to make a bunch of money.
And I've been doing Okey Doke for over 7 years now. And
that's a long period.
It's never changed.
We're still under 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, you should be so big by now. And I'm like,
it's like, well,
I get that, but
I get the same thing too. Yeah. I could be. I could be really big if I wanted to go out and do the stuff that personally I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't fit me.
It's just all about kind of staying real yourself and staying real to your customers, your consumers.
Yeah.
Well, that was one thing. It was kind of like that I've brought up before. Like it is kind of funny. Like I can see the humor in it that if somebody, whether they know me, if somebody that didn't know me hears me talking about Not Fast and they were to like see the page and be like, you have like 2007 followers, right? But you're like, I don't understand why you're talking about it. Like it was this, this big thing.
What's brand loyalty though?
Well,
like you build loyalty with customers.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
And you can be more intimate too.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, yeah, I did only have a little over 2,000 by the end of it. But I think it's safe to say for me that, 90% of those were organically made. They were either people that knew me, that met me, or people that looked at what I was doing and were about it. You know what I mean? There there was never anything that I did where I could look back and be like, oh, people probably just kind of like came in the tail end of like this big thing that happened. You know what I mean? So it's like that was kind of always the thing for me. And you and I have talked about this at length many times where it can getting the followers organically is important for people like us, for that reason, because it ultimately comes down to quality over quantity, especially when you are selling products and things like that with your original content. Because at that point, if people are buying your products with your original content, that means they fuck with you.
Exactly.
As a person. And it's like, but that's what can be so tough, and that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about is like, as much as we don't like care about the numbers like that, when it comes to the fact that you are in, like, objectively speaking, other brands that occupy your same sector, you are in competition with them to a certain degree, right? That's just business. This is how business is. So it can be really incredibly discouraging no matter what your power of will is when it comes to this stuff. It can be really discouraging when you know what you're doing and you know what you're going through and you know the blood, sweat, tears, and hours that you're putting into this stuff, and you just watch other people riding the hype train and making enough money where they are making profit. They're making profit for like just about zero fucking effort, and it's like, that can be really, really tough to deal with.
It is, yeah.
How have you dealt with that over the years? Because obviously 7 years is a long time to be working on a brand, and clearly you have a lot of love and passion and drive for it to continue doing it throughout that time.
I think I dealt with a lot of that early on. I think I kind of overcame that mentality of I am my own person. I'm in my own lane. I'm gonna do my own thing, and you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah. So and that's gotta stay real to myself.
That's an important thing.
The content that I want to, and push it out there, and I usually get 100% response for it. People end up liking it.
And that's the nice thing with having a smaller, more niche audience is that, like you said, you can be more intimate with that customer base. You can talk to them one-on-one. They fuck with you. They fuck with the stuff that you're doing. It's a quality audience as opposed to quantity. Like, you don't have tons and tons of people, but the people that you do have, they keep coming back. And yeah, I think that's definitely an important part for anybody that is, interested in running a brand or is running a brand currently, to try and overcome comparing yourself to other people, call them competitors, whatever. I don't think that there needs to be, competition. It's more so like if you have a brand and you have a vision with it, you know what it is that you want to achieve with that business, whether it is profits or whatever. You're just going for a specific style. You just really like artwork, whatever it is. As long as you stay true to what it is that you're focused on, just don't pay attention to what other people are doing. And you can learn so much from being friends with everybody else that has businesses, whatever direction they have.
One thing that I do want to say, to speak on the fact that I use the words competitor, whereas you just said what you said, and obviously I'm on the same page. I agree with you. This doesn't need to be a fucking cutthroat thing. Right. I want everybody listening to this to understand that's not what I mean. But I will say, objectively speaking, in the algorithm-driven society that we live in, if you have a brand, if you have something like this that is a creative endeavor that you're putting money and time and effort into, at this point, for all three of us, we all started these things when social media was very firmly in place. We were doing a lot of marketing on social media. We were having to fight the current of being constantly exposed to all the hype shit. Watching all of this stuff that was very much hype shit, and being able to make the decision with artistic integrity, but also just being, the creative individuals that we are, where you can look at something that may be hypey, and even at that moment, you're kind of like, that's fucking cool, but I want to put my own spin on that, so I'm not just at the end of the line doing the same fucking thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the point that I was trying to make with the competition thing, that it ultimately comes down to is, when you're doing all that, that is great. If you're independently wealthy before you even get into this, that is awesome. Happy for you, right? But if you are like us, if you are somebody that is, you're hustling and you're doing all of this for your brand to stick with our ideals, like just the three of us have and did, it can get really, competition or not, that can get really tough and really demoralizing when you are just absolutely burning the candle at both ends. And it's just like, even though you're not doing this for money, at a certain point, you have to be like, at the end of the day, is this worth what I'm doing as far as how it's juxtaposed against keeping a roof over my head and being able to, you know what I mean? And being able to put gas in it, just being able to live. And it's just like, at least at the beginning, unless you blow up, it's like, Liam you and I have talked about this, where at the end of the day, the reality is owning and running a business like that will always start as an expense. It takes money to make money, right? And so when I use the word competition in that context, it's like I said, it's not necessarily because I'm trying to be like, it's fucking, you're in the water with the sharks, this and that. It's not competitors in that way, but it's in that's when your engagement versus their engagement really hits home. Because when you're like Dustin, who's a fucking one-man machine with this stuff, dude, look, and you're going to be like, oh, thanks. But you are legitimately one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. And it's something that I've always really admired about you and about how you do things, with Okey Doke, and it's like conversations that you and I have had, like, you know, I consider myself a hardworking person, especially when I was doing Not Fast. It was that thing for me. You know what I mean? I was working and I was going to school, and by the time I got home, I was fucking out of gas, dude. I was out of gas, I was out of energy, but, you know, I still was like, well, I love Not Fast more than I hate all of the rest of this shit. So I'm going to sit down and knock out like a design, a few thumbnails, like whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's fun.
Exactly.
Fun to do.
So it's like at a certain point, though, just because of the society that we live in.
Keeping up with the demand and everything, it starts to become stressful. You start running into other issues that are out of your control, and that's what wears you thin.
You know what I mean? And so when you are at that point where you are wearing thin, and then you kind of look around you and you're like, yeah, like I'm doing exactly what I want, and this is great, and I love, you know, the organic audience that I've built, but like this month I have been forced, because of things I can't control, to spend more money on my brand than I need to in regards to like my real world expenses.
I feel like you're literally describing my fucking month right now.
So but exactly.
I'm having a miserable time.
And that's what I mean, you know? So it's like, you think about that and you juxtapose that against these brands that do just ride the hype train and are literally making profits off of that. That's the part that I'm talking about that can be demoralizing. Obviously, I absolutely agree on the point that, you know, it's unbelievably important to do that and be like, look, I'm drawing the lines on my own lane right now, and I feel good about that. But like somewhere along the line, your real world expenses and responsibilities are also going to enter that lane.
Oh, yeah.
That's where shit gets really hard and demoralizing. And when people that do and operate brands like ours, where we have those things that are important to us, at certain points, that really does become a make or break thing. It really does.
So for you, Dustin, and I know you said, you know, early on you kind of process that and you know, put it in your head, like, you know, stay in your own lane, all of that stuff. How do you, you know, 7 years into it now, what are you doing, or like what allows you to be able to keep doing this? Like, you obviously work full time for Chase Bays. You know, how do you keep finding the drive when you come home in the evening to do stuff related to the brand?
I just had this idea that I still have this baby that I'm taking care of.
Yeah.
And I need to nurture it and at least give it some attention, at least, you know, maybe a few times a week. And that's kind of how I look at it. You
just continue to love it. Yeah.
I don't want to let go of it. Sometimes it's stressful. I knock the table.
You're fine.
I didn't mean to. So, you know, I just kind of treat it that way. I treat it as like, all right, well, I have an agenda. I make a plan. I can tell Emily, like, hey, like, we're not hanging out tonight. We're going to go do this, and she knows that. So I just create, like, these time frames, and especially when we're gearing up for Riverside and stuff, where I go in my office and I just hammer shit out. Yeah, yeah. And that, to me, is fun. Like, I love the drive that comes with it. I love the adrenaline that I get from it. I like just pumping stuff out and being able to, you know,
and
get to the end point. Because you show up to Riverside and it's like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm making money. Everything's fine. I get to hang out with my friends. I get to drive.
Yeah.
So
the reason that I ask about that specifically is really from my own curiosity. Like, I'm at a point right now where things are like super overwhelming, and I'm kind of having to reevaluate and figure something else out. And I'm thinking I need to take a page from your book where maybe I do need to be focusing my efforts into something else and, you know, making sure that my bills and anything that I want to do is covered by something else, and then just allotting like some of my time to the things that I'm passionate about, so I don't get burnt out on it. It's not like
I think that's a really important
I've
thing
hit
to
this
keep in mind.
This thing with you know, media video stuff years ago where it was my full-time job for a long time, and I have to do it. It's a need as opposed to a want. And I think with everything that I do that I'm really passionate about, when it becomes a need, it's too much. I get burnt out on it really, really quick.
Yeah, more time is more creativity to do things, but also more time is more stress. And more opportunities for stress to enter.
Yeah, so, like when I decided, I'm going to go full-time when I moved to Chattanooga, I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to have, you know, my entire week. I can kind of plan everything out, and I have so much time to just focus my energy on this. And then, you know, coming into reality with it, I'm starting to realize that time goes by really fucking fast. Like when I'm planning for drops, I'm like, it just feels like everything just falls out from under me, and like I'm like a week out, and I still feel like I have a ton of things to do.
And then enter all the shit you can't control.
Yeah,
and like the process of like producing whatever it is.
Right,
that you
supply
do have,
chain
you know?
issues. You know, cost of production has gone up like crazy for a lot of things. It's really hard to find certain garments, and it's becoming harder and harder to put out products and also remain relevant in a time where algorithms change every week.
Yeah, the past 2 posts we did got like barely 50 likes.
Right, and me as somebody who has, you know, been heavy into marketing for 15 years now, like everything I've done has been focused around video marketing, social media marketing. I can't even keep up with it. Like I am somebody who is good with video stuff, and I can't keep up with the algorithms. They change all the time, and I'm over processing these algorithms and trying to figure out things to stay relevant. And at the end of the day, I'm coming to a conclusion where I'm like, you know what? Fuck the algorithms. Fuck all of that stuff. I need to literally just make the stuff that I like and put it out there. And if people fuck with it, they fuck with it. If people don't, if it doesn't get put out,
I'm so
whatever.
scared of like putting things out there because I'm afraid it's not going to sell like I want it to.
Right, and
if I don't put it out there, people don't know that I exist.
Exactly,
So then
and
I become this brand that just kind of dwindled out. And hey, he's back again. Oh,
and
he's
that's
gone.
why when you talk about being in your own lane, you know, finding, you know, having a full-time job or having something that pays your bills, then takes that away. It takes away the stress of needing to feel like you need to be relevant, or that like you need to put stuff out there for people to know the brand still exists and to make sales and all of that stuff. Like it takes that away because you don't have to worry about the money side of it. You have money, your bills are paid for, you're not stressing about that. You can just put out the stuff that you want, and if people fuck with it, they do. If they don't, they don't. It's not that big of a deal, and that's, I need to be at that point now.
And I feel like I'm to that point now where I know what my audience wants.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what to put out there.
And that is awesome. And
because my audience is, I brought them in.
Yeah, they're probably
because
people
they
that have
wanted
been
my
with
stuff.
you for a long
I
time.
have tons of repeat customers.
And
That's
I
pretty
love
much
that.
all my bases.
And I feel like I do too. But because, you know, things change in my life constantly, I'm always, you know, trying new things. I'm a very ambitious person. Like I have a lot of like crazy ideas that are a little out there, and I'm always in my own head like, I can fucking do these. I can make them happen, but I'm trying to do them all like at the same fucking time.
Yeah,
and I really,
starting a
really
new project before you finish the other one.
I fuck myself on all of that. And people notice on it too. I've definitely had, you know, certain response from some of my audience, even to the podcast or me just kind of switching up some of my content to where, you know, it draws people in that fit a certain demographic that could follow along hype stuff. And then I try to like re-educate, or like, I don't ever try to be like a dickhead about it, but I do like bringing people in, you know, with YouTube stuff where it's like, you know, we've got these kind of clickbaity titles or thumbnails that bring people in that would be really interested in that stuff, and they don't leave disappointed. It's a different spin on it. Like I try to be really responsible with a lot of the content that I'm putting out now that I've matured and I'm involved in a community that I actively want to help grow. A big reason for the podcast is that, you know, I can bring people in using the stuff that I put out in the audience and try to like do something good. I can provide something to people, whether it's different ideas, inspiration, or just like, hey, don't do this type thing.
Education.
And yeah, I just, I'm always trying to take too many directions with things all the time.
Listening to this conversation too, like for me, it's simultaneously cool, but it's also, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, it's also really sad because it's kind of like going off of what I was talking about that we all agree with is all of the different struggles that you go through doing what we're doing. And it's just like, because of the algorithm, I mean, I really hate to like be that guy that just assigns all blame to that. So maybe it's not all blame, but like the algorithm really has made it that much harder to stay above water doing this stuff, because to our detriment, the algorithm rewards the people that are putting out hype stuff. Because
it definitely cut my audience in half. I did it again.
It's like they make it for the purpose of the people that are already selling really well and are really popular. They make it so that they will sell even more because the people making the companies making the algorithms, Facebook, whatever the fuck all that stuff is now, know that the more money that company makes,
the more they'll spend.
The more that they'll spend with that company. So it's like business-wise, the amount of problems that we have in this society, that business-wise, it makes sense. But like, so in this, it's almost weird to think about, because like, for you, for both of you, for Not Fast, had I still been going strong, I feel like if I was lucky, I would have a comparable, honestly, I probably would not even have. I'd probably have like 5K maybe by now after all this time, but we just talked about why that wouldn't bother me that much by itself. That being said, you had been in this space long enough where you were kind of able to get in there and organically grow that follower base before your audience got cut in half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the problem is you're at a point now where it's like that audience base that you have now, even though, needless to say, you're extremely thankful for every single one of them, anything can happen. But
you basically have to be spending money with Instagram for your audience to even see your stuff now.
You have to
but
operate.
That's even discouraging too, because once you spend money with them, are you even going to
get it back?
Right. And what things are you doing with Okey Doke to really like counter some of that stuff? Like obviously you're traveling out to events. Like you'll go to Riverside, but you don't go to a ton of events.
No, I basically do Riverside and Simply Clean. Those are the two big main events that I want to go to.
Yeah. But other than that, are you doing any, like, you're pretty social on social media? Were you like...
I'm more social with my personal.
Yeah.
I should probably be more social with the brand, but like, it's just super discouraging.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to jump in and try to do all this work when like I get very little out of it.
Right.
My time is so limited.
Yeah, it's hard when you have limited time. You don't want to be putting a bunch of time, effort, and money into something that ultimately does nothing for you.
But also being in a hiatus lately is kind of... dwindled that, so I haven't really posted a lot.
Yeah, and dude, it's tough. I 100% feel that, and I have a huge amount of respect for you to be able to continue doing this for such a long time and just really like stick to your guns. You're very specific about what it is that you want to do as far as design style and how much you put that stuff out there, and I really love that. I really look up to the fact that you're still doing it, and you love it. Yeah, and I relate to that super heavy, and
I love it for what it is. That's
it.
Well, and I think honestly, it's worth it to say that this whole dialogue that's happening right now is still within the realm of like me explaining the context that I was using when I used the word competition, because everything that we're saying shows how that competition affects us, affects you.
Yeah, but you can't also compete with repost pages. You can't compete with.
Don't even get me started on repost pages.
Hey, we actually already did a whole episode.
We do have the very first episode was on repost pages.
But, no, so and not for nothing, I just kind of formulated this idea right now. Anybody that is ambitious enough, and all power to you if you are. Anybody that's ambitious enough to go into this now, to do what. This sounds like, never mind. To do what the three of us have done, again, all power to you, especially if you listen to this podcast, like, you have a pretty solid idea of the current, especially after this episode, the current struggles that you're going to face. So for me as an individual, if I see somebody coming up doing this kind of stuff now, you're gonna have my respect, like, just period, because you already, to whatever degree, know that the cards are more or less stacked against you. So if you're gonna do what the three of us have done now, to people that can discern, like I would argue the three of us are people that can discern things like that. That's kind of, you're going to have a base level of respect if I like what you're doing, generally speaking, because of all that. It's because you looked at that wall and was like, I'm confident enough in what I'm doing and my idea and what I want to do and what I want to create and what I want to get out to people, that I'm going to start climbing this fucker.
So
it doesn't really matter how tall it is.
Before we get off of the subject of, really being passionate and sticking to your guns and, facing all of those challenges, I actually want to talk about this show's sponsor. Wheel Price is a company that is ran by 3 guys that, they're very similar to us. I believe one of them is in graphic design stuff. And they're just dudes that are really, really passionate about what it is that they're doing. They're providing a service for car enthusiasts like us, people like us that love show cars, any kind of car enthusiasts really love anything to do with wheels. And they provide a great service where they have an app that you can go on, buy and sell wheels, and it's a good mix of any of the stuff that me and Matt have spoken about on this podcast, whether it be, multi-piece wheels that are super rare, hard to find, Japanese wheels, cool looking OEM wheels. I'm pretty sure I saw a set of Fat 5 Audi wheels on there the other day. And it's all over the world too. Like it's everywhere. And the way that it's laid out, like Mason pointed out last week, is very much similar to how the forums used to be back in the day. So it gives you that nostalgia too. And I think that it's a great example of, people that are very passionate about what they do. They're not in it for money. They're really just trying to provide something.
Service, yeah.
Provide something that's valuable to the community that they're a part of and they love so much. And that's why I wanted to bring them on board with this podcast, is because I think that they fit very well, along with, our morals and anybody who is listening to this. We're an hour into this episode. If you guys didn't want to be here, you would not be listening right now. And that's why I think that they're a great fit. I really do encourage you guys to go check out that app, go download it, or, if you don't have a smartphone for some reason, they do have a website for it too. Last week I called people out for having Androids and being peasants, but I won't do that again. He
got death threats.
I did not, but it is a really, really cool app, and I would love to see it more. I would love to see it grow more and get out to more people. And so, please go check it out and support the people that support us, and allow this show to continue happening, and for us to bring more people on and provide more valuable content like this. So yeah, shout out to Wheel Price. You can go download the app and check it out. But We've been big on definitely passion and brand stuff, and I love that. I'd like to dive into something maybe a little bit more lighthearted. Can we talk about your car? Can we talk about your IS? Because that's definitely it's definitely a cool car. Like I've seen it. How long have you had that thing?
I can't tell you. I don't know. For a while.
Because I've seen it for a very long time.
I would say I've had that car for the better part of 5 years.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. So
and that's probably been a good part of the brand too.
To get to where it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a big part of the brand. I mean, the brand is what kind of helped me put some money into it. So.
And I can relate to that too. Same thing with my car.
Can't have a car brand without a car.
Exactly. Yeah, it does a lot for.
Actually, no, never mind. I had the Majesta. Never mind.
Yeah, no. Having a car involved with a car brand definitely helps a lot.
That was like the biggest thing I wanted to do starting Okey Doke, was have a specific car, and it had to be an IS.
Right, and especially if it's something that matches the aesthetic that you're going for, and that's what I get from your car. Like I've always associated your car, because you have a BN kit.
It's a Vertex kit.
Vertex kit, my bad. But similar style, very like drift, Japanese inspired. It's white, beautiful car. It is something that you would see in Japan for sure. And I've always, every time I've seen it, just associated it with Okey Doke and
that late '90s, early
2000s
drift style.
I think that it's cool because the car does a lot of talking for the brand. Like I see that car in front of the booth. The car's going to bring me in. I'm going to come look at it and be like, damn, this is really cool. Like all these cool authentic parts. It's white. Like it really looks like something that I would see just candidly like on the streets in Tokyo. And it's parked in front of this brand. I'm going to go check out the brand, because clearly the brand and the flags that I'm seeing, some of the design stuff on your tent kind of aligns with the stuff that I see with the car, and it all just makes sense. And yeah, for people that are interested in a brand, I think car is definitely a good way to go. But there's some more details on the car. What's done to it? What have you done? What's been the process?
I put a 1JZ in it, VVTi. I had VSKFs on it. I don't anymore. I'm going to have some new wheels that I'm getting chromed right now. I have full Serial 9 catalog on my car, powder-coated subframe, solid subframe bushings.
Shout out to Serial 9, by the way. I've worked with them on my car too. Really, really good stuff.
Gerard and Kevin, those are good dudes.
Absolutely.
that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got Ricardo SPG, Mola 8 seats. About to put a cage in it. Kept it pretty simple, pretty streetable.
And you drive this car.
Full interior.
Is it a show car? Is it a drift car? Is it a daily?
It's both. It's all.
Good. That's what we like to hear. Yeah. And so you were telling us that you have like multiple bumpers for, you'll throw like maybe a trashy bumper on there that's been like kind of messed up for you to go and drift it. And then you have like a nice bumper that's painted nice. Yep. You got to take the car to Riverside, stuff like that. That's the idea. Yeah. That's definitely cool. I'd love to do the same thing with mine, but my car is not a drift car. And so it'll just break from me just driving it. But yes.
Spare, like a nice kit and then one that
I've
worry about messing up.
I've had a couple people made suggestions like, hey, why don't you make a mold of your bumper and then like remake it? Like not to sell it or anything, but I looked into it.
Definitely thought about doing that.
Making molds is kind of like tough because I got to keep them somewhere. Like the actual molds of it. Like
that's true.
All of a sudden you just have like, I get some overhead storage in here and just have a bunch of bumpers. Yeah. But it definitely would be helpful because I've destroyed that bumper so many times already. But no, it's cool that you've set that car up to kind of be useful for multiple different things.
I wanted it to be the image of my brand.
Yeah. So and also, an extension of you, which the brand is too. I think that's definitely a big key thing to talk about is like everything to do with your brand, your car, everything that you're putting out to the world, like visually is an extension of you. It's your inner workings.
I feel like if people know my brand, they know who I am.
Yeah,
and they
100%.
Talk to me and have a conversation.
And that's actually always been a funny thing for me is, the first few years that I started seeing stuff with Okey Doke, when I had first maybe seen you at Riverside, I knew right away that you were the owner of that brand just by looking at you.
Cool.
And it's not just because you were wearing like all of the stuff that you make.
Yeah.
It's because I can see the visually what you go for, like whether it's what you're wearing, just what you look like. I just weirdly was able to connect it with that brand. I was like, that's the guy that definitely owns this brand. So that's definitely a cool thing to associate with. I like that a lot.
Well, so I kind of want to segue.
Sure.
Something that I'm really interested to talk to you about on here is kind of like the art part of it. Maybe separating it kind of from the automotive part, as art, because we've talked about that a million times. Maybe we can talk about it later. But one thing that really endeared Dustin to me when we met each other was eventually learning that we both really started kind of our growth as artists with graffiti writing and graffiti art, and
which me too a little bit. I know I wasn't as big into it, but me and Matt actually had an epiphany.
Yeah, we did.
We had that Step Brothers moment where we're like, did we just become best friends?
Oh yeah.
And then we spent the next 3 hours just watching freight graffiti videos and one up painting whole ass fucking metro trains in Europe.
That's
and
shit I can put in the background.
Exactly.
I was big obsessed with graffiti art and that culture when I was really young. I was
really
probably
big where you're from.
Too. Between the ages of 9 and maybe 12, I was just obsessed with it. My family, we travel across Europe pretty often. And when my parents wanted to go do touristy shit or go do whatever they were going to do in each city that we stayed into, I was like, can you drop me off at a train station? So I wasn't painting. I was never really painting, but I would just sit around and watch trains come through because I was obsessed with the artwork. And my parents didn't get it. They were like, dude, this is just vandalism, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was like, this is so beautiful.
Canvas.
It's so artistic. They've taken something that is so commercialized, boring, gray. People ride on it every single day to get to and from a place. And all of a sudden there's pretty colors on it, different shapes. And I was obsessed. I have
see how that kind of translates into cars.
Yeah. I have a ton of books upstairs that I've showed Matt that, I bought when I was a kid, and I was just super nerdy about that stuff. But you guys actually were more involved with it. You have a ton of black book stuff and shit that's really interesting for me, and I wish I'd gotten more into it. I didn't have friends that were involved with it. So, but no, please go back to talking more about that.
Yeah. So it was kind of that was, like I said, that really kind of, and I don't even know, that's a good word because we're good friends. So yes, it endeared me to you even before, I really knew about kind of the lengths that we respectively were going to for our brands, which just kind of deepened the friendship that we have. But like when you take that information in mind and kind of look at how, your style of things that you design, it's like you can see that. You can see it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I think that's another thing that, gives you a leg up because, and this part, I don't know, this part may very well just be biased because it's also where I came from. But like, it's kind of funny because graffiti, I feel like, is simultaneously, it can still be a very underground thing, mm-hmm. but in the same vein, parts of it are very commercialized at this mm-hmm. point.
That too, but there's a lot of PC in it too,
Right.
There's a lot of like old style graffiti, and people stick to those same roots, and that translates into cars as well, where people want to stick to a certain style with a certain car. Like with my car, I wanted to stick to, early 2000s, late 90s drift style, which is very...
I hate to interrupt, but this...
Hey, Liam, you're also in the podcast.
You're not interrupting
anything.
This actually, ties in really well to, part of the branding for this podcast mm-hmm. is the way that subcultures tie into, inspiration for other subcultures. Mm-hmm. All of us have different backgrounds. I have an action sports background. I was big into graffiti stuff. That stuff has played a part in the way that I look at cars as an art form mm-hmm. and the way that I go about branding stuff. And I'm sure that you have the same exact things. Exactly. And the reason that I have the name Substance is because, stance is like a, key word for the type of cars that we're into. Mm-hmm. But really it comes down to stance being a subculture mm-hmm. of the car community, and then there's so many different roots and things that go into that and making things the way that they are, mm-hmm. and it's a really interesting thing, and I'm glad that we're diving into it and how your background in graffiti plays a part in that, so it's cool.
And it's fun. When you say that, I think it's something that I think it's really cool and actually pretty easily distinguishable when people do approach cars as art. They literally mentally will assign that word to what they're doing as mm-hmm. as art. Because, when I think about it, obviously there are certainly people that are building performance cars and track cars and
purpose-built vehicles.
Yeah, full-on race cars. They are looking at it, from an artistic standpoint. But I feel like a lot of that, in the really serious builds, I feel like the art in that kind of just builds itself. The more crazy you get with aero and maybe liveries and stuff
right.
like that. I feel like it just kind of builds little by little into this, work of art in that way. But I think, I'm like this. I would argue that you are both like this is at the very beginning of the process. You're doing that visualizing and selecting that style, and you are viewing that as all right, I'm starting this work mm-hmm. of art right now. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of for me, anybody that I've ever met that has a car that I really, really like, that's the common denominator, is they all approach the car like that.
I had my vision of my car long before I had my car.
Right.
I knew exactly what I wanted to do to it in high school. I couldn't afford that car. I bought another car, and then I traded that car for the car I have now, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
And so then I could pursue my vision of what I wanted that car to be. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're spending too much money. You're spending too much money." No, I'm making this what I want.
Yeah, I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, it's an extension of me.
Yet. And it took me, 5 years to get there, but now I'm here, and the car is where I wanted to be, and now I'm adding other dumb stuff I don't need. But,
yeah.
Well, and it's so you can speak to, granted, Liam can speak to it too, but just for the case that your car is where you want it to be now, you can speak to that, incomparable feeling where, for anybody that does artwork, when you finish a work of art where every once in a while where you finish it and you are just you really enjoy it and you're not picking it apart, that is like, you can't really equate that feeling of like being able to breathe and look at it.
Because there's times where I'm designing stuff in Procreate or on the computer or whatever, I'm just sketching something out and I'm like, I fucking hate this. I'm going to go to something else. And then months down the road, I come back to it and I'm like, oh, I can change these
You have
things.
new eyes,
Like the design I showed you not long ago in text. That was something I had in a notebook like from 2 years ago, and I finally re-executed it, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's just like you can't. So the funny thing, and I've talked about this before, like, so that with cars, it's like that feeling like times 100, because like you build up this work of art that you've been, you know, planning and you've been working on for however long, and then when you finish it, you can like step back and look at it and just be super happy, and then you can get in that fucker and drive it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it performs, and it can drive 2 hours here and 2 hours back home, and
it's just there. I feel like it's really hard to get that feeling with anything else,
and
really.
So what happened was I got the car done completely, like the way I wanted it to be. I had the 1G in it, everything was fine, and we went to Grid Life. We vended Grid Life when they came down in 2018, I guess, 2019. Car broke down. That was cool. I remember on the highway, like 3 or 5 miles away from the hotel. Yeah, and I broke an axle, and it ruined my whole weekend. Yeah, so I couldn't even vend the show. So like Emily and like my friends were like vending the booth, and I was like finding a parts car like down the road to get an axle from, and I like battled it all weekend to get the car home. Damn. It was miserable, but like the fact that I could do that and then get it back home was like relieving. Yeah, yeah. You know? And then we took the car all the way down to Simply Clean. We trailered it. Yeah. But just to go down there and hang out with my friends, like hours away from home in a car that I just finished and it's performing well, and I'm able to drive it, you know, an hour across the city to a friend's house is insane. It's a really good feeling.
I got the same exact feeling like when the original setup that was on the car that was a lot more simple, when I just like, I worked like the 2 weeks leading up to Simply Clean, freezing cold in the garage, just like trying to get stuff. And it was my daily, it was my only car. So I was like busting ass to do things every night, get it back down on the ground, test drive it so I could make it to work the next day. And then I drove the thing 14 hours from Kentucky down to Simply Clean with no support vehicle, one spare tire, a jack, and like no real tools, and it made it. I beat the shit out of it all weekend, had fun with it, cruised around with my friends. I took out so many reflectors on the road, which I didn't even realize it was going to do that, and it didn't give me any issues. And I was just like, it was a really, really good feeling for me, one, to like finally get to enjoy my car, but also like the achievement of like, yo, I put that together and it did all of that in comfort and like didn't give me issues. And like I was so proud of that. Like that's a good feeling, and you get that with so many different things, you know.
Different outlets of life.
Oh, that's fucking cool as shit. And
I relay that same feeling when I finish a design. I'm able to print it and produce it and like, you know, give it to my friends or sell it.
Well, I was gonna say that's like the step even past that is when you can make something and you're happy with it, and then you produce it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then people start paying you money for that, so you're like, oh shit. So I like it, but so do all of these other people, you know?
I wish I could like relate to more of that on like the graphic design side, because I'm very artistic minded, like similarly to how you guys are. I used to draw a lot when I was a kid, and I guess, you know, as soon as I got more involved with cameras and digital stuff, like I didn't draw anymore. And I'm at a point now where like I've always wanted to get into graphic design. Like me having my brand and doing design stuff, I don't do any of it. I commission it out to artists that know what they're doing, and it's because I'm already good at like video and photo stuff, but I'm so picky about the things that I put out. If I tried to do designs myself, it would take me years to be happy with something I made myself.
But you have a vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what.
I just wish I could be the person like putting pen to the paper, like, or, you know, being on Procreate and actually like drawing what's in my head. Because oftentimes like I'll have things where I have an exact idea in my head, and I have a really hard time trying to communicate it exactly to an artist. Yeah. And especially like a lot of the artists that I work with are guys that I'll find on Instagram, and so they could be in Russia, Thailand, like wherever. And so there's a language barrier too, and I've had so many times where I've spent money and gotten something back and I'm like, it's really dope, but it is not what I had in my head. Yeah. And I just like have to put it out anyway, because I don't have the money to then go and pay someone else to make the same design or whatever. And I'm not going to short these guys that are working hard and they're very talented. So I do really wish that I could be the same as you, where you are doing the drawing, but I'm blessed in other areas being able to do
See, I think
stuff,
that's what I was gonna inject with that.
I can't do everything. I have to accept that at some point.
But I guess before Easter, I'm also to a point now where I've done it for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying other people's styles. Like I commissioned one piece from Cartoon Kids. They did like a little, drawing of
the car. IS, yeah.
And I love that. I wanted to do that.
You want to see other people's stuff.
But I wanted him to do it.
Yeah.
So I got the taste of that, and I want to do that with other companies as well. I want other companies to design for me now.
Yeah.
I still want to do my own thing. It'll still be the same style, but it just won't be me.
See, and that's kind of what's interesting. Okay, so to respond to what you were saying, Liam, it's like this is just what popped up in my mind. With me, that's kind of like I play guitar. I don't really play it frequently anymore, but I play it. I know how to play it and all this stuff, right? And I really enjoy it. And I enjoy it for a really long time. And I actually learned a fair amount of like other instruments at a very basic level. But the thing that I come to find is I just enjoy music and playing music. So when I would see somebody who's really skilled at playing an instrument that I didn't know how to play, I ran into that feeling where it's like, fuck, like I wish I had put time and energy in learning how to do that because it's super cool and this and that. But then I remember like, oh, well, I'm pretty good at what I do and what I know how to do. And it's like, when I think about you saying that, it's like, no, maybe your focus has not been and you haven't built that foundation on like hand-drawn artwork or graphic design or whatever. But like, you're going to be hard pressed. There's certainly people out there, but you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody that is really good at, hand-drawn artwork and like ground up graphic design that is as good at photography and video work as you.
Well, and even if they are, they may not be able to do something else. Like nobody can do absolutely everything unless you're Scud.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about. Unless you're Scud, you can't do all that.
But no, it's interesting, and it's one of those things that you have to accept at a certain level.
One more thing that, in response to you and what you were saying is, now I've told Liam this was something that, being the control freak that I was with Not Fast, so I would almost want to say all of the designs, okay, not all of them, but the majority of the designs that I did, I like how they came out, but the face that I just made that only people on YouTube can see is like, I like how they came out, but, well, money was obviously an object at the time too, but had I been able to like relinquish creative control enough to like delegate that out to somebody who's better at that style than me, in the context of being a brand that makes products that you yourself want to be into to offer to other people, that
don't try to produce something that you're not going to wear yourself.
It's exactly
because if you don't do that, you're just playing yourself the whole time.
Yeah, the entire time. And it's like, so coming from that, Liam, even though that graphic design and hand drawn, whatever is not like your strong suit. One thing that I noticed about you very early on when I kind of watched how you work and, watched how you ultimately do your products is like, you have it's like you just said, you have a very concrete idea of what you want to do, but you delegate that to somebody who's going to be able to do it way better than you.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, even though you don't get to be like, oh, I drew that, at the end of the day, the fact that it's going to become a product that you're offering to people in that context, it's even better because that's what I mean. There are
you got to be able to let things go and work with other people that could do it better.
There
to
are
make
products that I did that I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I wanted it to look, and I did the best I could. And even with that, there were some designs that I did, decal designs and stuff, where I kind of surprised myself as far as being able to like noodle with it until I was able to figure it out. But there were little to none that I can look back at now and literally think of an artist or a graphic designer off the top of my head that would have done it a million times better than me.
Yeah.
So I think there's an element of, I don't want to say beauty, but just for lack of a better word, I think there's a degree of beauty in delegating in that way, you know, in having an idea. But
it's taken me till now to realize that, and because I was so anti, you know, wanting someone else to produce things for me, that I didn't like the idea of that.
Right.
I like the idea of it being me instead of somebody else, you know. But now that I'm here, it seems like it makes more sense to like, okay, well, I'll focus on this, and I can have somebody else do this more realistic style design or something that's just kind of out of my roots. It's going to piss me off enough to where I don't want to do it anymore, so I might as well just give it to somebody else.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. And these are all, like, this is a valuable lesson for me, even to be like sitting here listening to the podcast that I'm on. But like, there's a lot of things that I can take from this, because I'm 100% at a point. Like, I just did a drop this week that like today's like the last day, and it has absolutely flopped. It's been This is the hardest I've worked for a drop in a long time. Like, this whole week, I've planned everything where I would be having, you know, content put out constantly. I've been up till like 3 o'clock in the morning every night this week, and then getting up early and trying to do stuff to get things out for promo, and it's all just completely flopped. Man. And it sucks, but it's
tough because it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You don't know when it's going to
I really thought that, you know, with enough plan and preparation, you know, what could go wrong? But it just happens, and you don't expect it. And so now I'm going to take a lot from this, and just speaking to you, where I'm starting to realize that, okay, you know, maybe me planning to do a drop every single month and working to a strict schedule isn't going to work, because the way that I operate and the passion that I have, like, I'm really particular. And if I'm getting to a point where I'm putting stuff out because I have to, because I've said, yeah, I'm going to stick to this schedule.
Is gonna drop.
Yeah, I'm not going to be 100% content with the stuff that I'm putting out. And I think that the sales are going to reflect that. And I think that that's maybe what has happened on this drop, is just that, you know, the designs they're decent, but they're not like, I've been known for doing like kind of out there really different designs. And this time I kept it more simple and just had like really, really nice products. Well, that has been something new to my audience. And so I don't think it transferred over as well. And me very ignorantly was just like, well, if I make enough really, really cool, you know, content to hype it up, I make these really dope promo videos, it won't matter. You know, people will still fuck with it because they fuck with the content and the style of my videos. Like, they'll want to support it, but it didn't work out like that.
So strange.
And it's interesting, but you learn every single drop, you'll learn something new. And I think I'm just kind of now having to reevaluate and figure out what my next step is as far as that, because I don't think I can.
We've done drops in the past where, you know, we would have 4 to 5 items, and then 1 to 2 of those items would outsell. And then the other ones are left, and you're like, okay, well, I won't make these mistakes again. I won't do this more simple thing.
You know, sometimes you can't even figure out what it is that the mistake was. It just it could just be luck. It's just something happened.
Maybe it's because the shirt was blue and not black.
That's always a really weird like offshoot of like doing any kind of like creative or art thing that you sell.
The analytics is like, so hard to read.
Well, it is so strange, because you can have something that you absolutely like, you do it and you've already produced it and you're like, well, I fucking hate this, but I've already, you know, it's already in front of me.
I've had numerous of those.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm like,
you have to put it out.
I don't want to sell this.
And then it just like sells out, and you're just like, what the, whatever. Like, thanks, I guess. Like, fuck yeah, but I hated that. But obviously, y'all liked it, so.
No,
like the one design we did forever ago that we sold so many of. We just the Okey Doke with the hand, and it says OkeyDoke Brand, and then No Bad Vibes at the bottom with 2 like Japanese.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So that. We killed it. We did T-shirts, we did windbreakers, we did hoodies, and I got to the point where I was like, I have oversaturated this design. I'm going to get rid of it, and then people still ask for it.
Yeah,
but
which at that point, you know,
you're not going to reprint it.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it creates demand. If you ever put out a design that was a similar style, I'm sure people would be into it.
Same for the cat shirts we did, the Maniki Nico. We did the Udi at the front with the flames coming out, kind of traditional neon style. Did the Nico on the back. And those sold, we did like 3 different prints on those. Yeah. So we did over 150, 200 shirts. And we sold out all of them. So, I mean, those did really well, but I'll never reprint the design. People ask all the time. I just can't do it. I don't like it enough to reprint it.
No, and
I'm spending my money to do it.
It's such an interesting balance, and
creating the limitedness of it is what I like about it. It's you buy it now, and you can probably buy it off somebody later.
I mean that's more what I wanted to get into this year, because I'm sick and tired of traveling for events and feeling like I have to, especially when like half of the events that I go to are putting in minimal amount of effort to support the vendors. Like the vendors are what's paying for the show to be put on.
That's why I stick to only a few.
That's what I'm saying. Now I only want to go to the events that I like. I know care about the community, like Riverside.
We need more events.
Exactly.
Like that.
We need more events that are like that.
Cater to the people that are actually helping you.
Like it's a hierarchy at the end of the day. Like the events is what brings people in. Like everybody goes to events, but if the events aren't supporting the vendors, then the vendors don't really want to support the events, and then it just falls apart. And then it goes in a cycle. You get new events pop up, and it's the same thing. But occasionally, you get events pop up that are really, really good. You know, they have the right morals, they have the right approach. They really care about the community. They care about their vendors, the people that are involved, and those are the ones that will do well over time. And I think it oftentimes will come down to a consumer level where it's like we have to show the people that don't see the behind the scenes stuff that, you know, you need to be supporting the stuff that are putting on for the community, that are trying to give back, because then it goes full circle.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was kind of a good way to tie everything together, really. But as far as Okey Doke for future plans, what do you have? What do you have coming? Is there anything new and exciting? I mean, I know obviously you're coming to Riverside. You have stuff planned for that?
Not much. Since we took a hiatus and we've been dealing with a bunch of supplier issues, I actually had to take a day off of work on Friday because I just, like, it was the last straw. I got super stressed out and I had to leave and go home and figure some shit out. You know, I had Riverside stuff I had to, you know, it was on my agenda, things that I needed to get done, and for Mason, so that way he's, you know, got stuff he needs to print. And then also work on my own stuff. But then I'm dealing with, you know, parts I can't get for my car in time. And then I'm dealing with, you know, garments and things that are out of stock. And that's when I just pulled the plug and said, it's too stressful to try to focus on all these different designs and stuff.
You just had something to have to simplify it.
And I'm just going to sell what I have and maybe do a few stickers and like a new shirt that I just did and maybe another shirt. And that's it. And we'll just have, it'll probably be the smallest Riverside set that we've ever had. But we'll still do okay.
I hope that all of that stuff sells out. I really do.
It should.
And
hopefully, we do the after me too.
Yes, that's another thing to mention. I think after this, we're going to go scout a location for that, right? So that should be exciting. And for any of you guys that are planning to come to Riverside, please do. Obviously, come support the show, support all of the cool vendors and brands, and come check out Dustin's booth. Come to the Okey Doke booth. See the cars that are there.
Talk to Dustin.
Talk to Dustin too.
Talk to me.
Yeah,
Please
have a
conversation.
That is a big thing too. Like a lot of people that run brands like we do. Like I love engaging with my audience.
Don't be shy. Just come up, hang out. That's what it's all about. It's about people.
Right. Yeah. And I think big thing with social media is too that it's becoming less social. Like people are talking less and less on social media. So I'd love to bring it more back to face to face. And it's hard for me sometimes. Like I make an effort to stay at my booth the majority of the time because I want to talk to people. But I also have to think about the media aspect of it, and I need to film stuff. And so if I have to get away from the booth and I'm not there, I do apologize. But Dustin will be at the booth. His booth the whole time.
Can I launch into, it may be very short, I don't know, but kind of a tangential conversation?
Is that a word?
Tangential, yes.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. I low-key want to have a deal. Like I said, it could be very short. We could get into it. But, like, I feel like we're arriving at a point where there has to be some kind of, whether it's an alternative app or site, or even just like an alternative way of going about things. Like I know for photographers, because I am not one, wasn't really super aware of this, but like a lot of photographers are just switching to Twitter. Like
Twitter's been real good for pictures. Yeah.
A lot of creative, because like Garrett puts a lot of his like renders and stuff, like more photos of his renders on Twitter. And so I've been kind of hearing that Twitter is a more like open space. Do you have a Twitter?
Yeah. We finally did Twitter.
I think that Twitter is still one of the few apps that keeps their timeline in order. Yeah, which just works, you know, to start off with. And yeah, I like Twitter because it'll also show up in your feed like other things that people have liked. And so if a bunch of people have liked a post that I've made about a product, or maybe just like a cool picture I've taken or whatever, it's going to show up in other, it's like a suggested feed too. And it works really well.
Someone likes it and then it shows up on their feed.
Exactly.
It's just a constant recirculation.
It's
always on your
Instagram
wall.
doesn't really do that. Like you can go to the explore page, but I've never really used it. And then now the timeline, all I'm getting is reels or sponsored posts or suggested posts. I'm rarely ever getting posts from people I actually follow, which is super frustrating, because then it's what's the point in following people?
Dude, sometimes I don't know if this is
I followed over 2,000 people, and that's a lot. But there's a majority of like designers and musicians and people that I enjoy to watch and see. And if I'm not engaging with those people, and
like a third of them,
see it.
maybe.
So I could miss out on like a weekend of social media, and then I'm not going to see that.
It's like 0.3% of the people you follow will actually show up on your feed. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I brought this up, because I'll be honest, I mean, maybe not like in this episode, but that's something that I kind of, even if it ends up being just like concentrated on like car community brands that obviously could like extend to, streetwear, just whatever the fuck, just like small creative businesses. It's like if somebody could come up with an app or a website or something that like it would be weird, because obviously you would want it to grow. You would want it to stay small enough to stay out of like Facebook's radar, basically.
Well, I've seen like some companies like getting down with Discord and stuff, like making their own Discord to kind of hang out with their fan base, and maybe tease like releases and
as much as Matt is going to hate that I'm going to say this, TikTok is a really, really good avenue now with social media.
Is.
As much as it's like,
I don't hate that. I mean, I'm not on, but I see its relevance.
It's a weird app, but their algorithm is fucking genius. And if the days of having a small, authentic brand that's very niche and being able to grow an organic audience on like Instagram, it's not really a thing anymore. Like you have to spend money.
Reels is a big thing on Instagram.
It is. But like TikTok, it's a lot easier. Like if you're just putting out good, relatable content consistently enough, it's going to show up in people's feeds, and then people are going to engage with it. Like you can grow an audience on TikTok so much faster than any other app, and so it's definitely a useful tool for that.
It's kind of interesting now that this happens to me all the time. I'm realizing right now that we're like talking and everything just starts connecting as the conversation goes on. So it's kind of interesting because, so let's just use the 3 apps, I guess, that were just named. Right?
Instagram, Twitter,
Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. Okay, so 4. Bleh. Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, Instagram has kind of taken the same position as Facebook, whereas it's like,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Instagram is like normie now, almost, you know what I mean? And
the moment Facebook got their hands in it, they were like, they just fucking take the shit.
They're trying to be like TikTok too much.
Well, so here's the thing, right? What I'm getting at is Instagram, at this point, like you just said, it is damn near impossible to organically build a brand from the ground up on Instagram if you're not just super commercial and
following
writing
the hype,
whatever it is going to sell, right? So what I feel like would be an interesting thing to see en masse, which I obviously don't have any control over, but I would be interested to see how that would play out, is somebody, whether it's a brand that already does their thing or it's somebody that's coming up, is to like basically use Instagram as like the very end of their chain. Just be able to put really, attractive aesthetic, whether it's promo photos or content or a mix of both, like whatever. Instagram being at the end of the chain, but kind of put the same amount of like work and creative thought process, kind of how we've all approached our Instagram up until now. Mm-hmm. But so I'm actually really glad you brought up the Discord thing, because it's something that I had thought about very briefly, that I never even brought it up to Liam. But I honestly feel like, especially with the podcast, it would always be kind of cool to have a Discord.
Yeah.
Because you could literally have like you know,
You can do a
have
live Discord alongside.
You
Honestly,
can have,
that's
direct
not
interaction
a bad idea.
with the people that.
For anybody
listen
listening
to this.
or watching right now, if you think we should start a Discord for this podcast and you want to like engage with us, please let us know. Because that might, I'd never thought about it until now.
Yeah.
That might actually be really, really cool.
I think that would be really cool to do. But so
I've only been on it once, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try.
it's kind of like, it's interesting. So I can, in Sad Machine's Discord server, you can laugh at me this whole time. It's fine. But
Matt's
like,
a boomer.
I really hate it. There are very boomery parts of me when it comes to this stuff. But like, I haven't really explored Discord and all of the parts and capabilities of it at this point, even though I spend enough time now in the Sad Machine server. But like, I think there is a lot of space to create a really cool space within a Discord server. So it's like that all of a sudden can become like a very closely interactive like comment section and like feedback machine. Mm-hmm. And then as far as Twitter is concerned, you know, you just use Twitter SOP the same way you've always used Twitter, but you just concentrate on a little bit more because it's still in chronological order. Because there isn't really a really intrusive criminal fucking algorithm that is directing people away from you for whatever given reason it feels like it. So there you have a pretty solid place to put out what you're wanting to put out, especially in the case of Liam, who, you know, does a lot of video work. There's your TikTok. You know, then you have video promos, whatever. There's your TikTok, where the most interesting thing for me, I think, about like engagement coming from TikTok is like, well, there's two sides of it. There are people that I just see by proxy that are on TikTok that have goddamn like 11 million followers or whatever the fuck they have on TikTok. And then you go to like their Instagram and they have like 10,000 followers, which like,
oh, the funnel from TikTok is not very good. It's short attention span. It's how Vine was.
Proportionately, obviously, it's like really not that good. But the thing to keep in mind is like these people that have a bazillion followers on TikTok and then have 10,000 followers on Instagram, they're still just like regular ass fucking people making TikTok not even about anything. They're like, the selling just random garbage doesn't come until later. But the point is that engagement still happens. For me, I'm kind of thinking at it now in regards to this. Instagram, this is kind of funny. I've never talked about on this podcast. Instagram has turned into post-porn Tumblr. And the reason I say that, listen.
Yep.
The reason
You're
I say
exactly
that,
right.
the reason I say that is because, and I've always thought this was really funny. I made a Tumblr on Not Fast and would just funnel all of our content, stuff that I didn't put on Instagram or anywhere else. I would just funnel all of it onto that Tumblr, right? And so I started doing that, and it was the most inconsistent that I was on any social media presence that we had. There was literally, when I did like the final reboot of Not Fast, I literally logged into the Tumblr to update it. We had 14,000 followers on Tumblr. I had not touched it. I had not touched it in like a year. So it's interesting to put it in that perspective because that was the end of my chain. If Instagram becomes the end of your chain and you prioritize other like modes of getting yourself out there, the Instagram, you still put effort into it for presentation and aesthetic standpoint. So for people that find you through that, you're still presenting, you know, how you are, but clean, cut, this and that.
You focus your original content efforts into something that's going to put it in front of new audiences.
Exactly. So it's like, it's kind of interesting in talking about this. That kind of raises, at least in me, that raises an interesting idea and something that may be worth a try to kind of like adjust how you do that as a bit. And I'm not even, I mean, this is kind of talking to anybody, not just us. Like, it is kind of, in as far as like Substance LEP, Liam, you have a leg up on a lot of people because your focus is already
videos.
Yep. So I don't know. I just that was all kind of brewing in my head, which is why I launched into why I wanted to have the little conversation, is because it's kind of interesting, because while it sucks that kind of used to all be rolled into one on Instagram, it's honestly, it's even more interesting that you reacted how you did when I said the thing about post-porn Tumblr. Because it wasn't until you reacted like that it all solidified that is exactly what Instagram is now.
Yep.
It had its beginning where it was super new and exciting, and everybody was about
was strong, and you could see everything that your friends were doing.
And it's like, so it had that, and it had like its, what turned into like the golden days, where
Instagram,
it was like a great...
Instagram used to be the app for people with small niche brands.
Exactly.
Like, it was an app where you just showed the things that you were doing, and now it's so commercialized, it's not the same.
We grew so fast with our first brand, and then we carried over that account with the current brand.
It's just,
and it was, and it was when Instagram was like, I guess organic, honestly, is the word that I would want to use, because it was very much that. If you followed somebody, granted, depends on how many people you followed, but generally speaking, if you followed somebody, a brand, you followed them because you liked their shit, you were going to see their shit.
Yeah.
Especially if every brand was on the same time schedule as far as releasing certain posts and shit. So if you're releasing a post at 8 o'clock, all the other brands are releasing their posts at 8 o'clock. So you're going to see them all at the same time. You're like, bye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's
now
just
I'm not getting people seeing a promo video that I put out until maybe 4 days later, or
and it's
if
all
at
the
all.
work that you've spent doing that.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing a return on it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Super upsetting.
So I feel like that would be, even if it's just I'm the only one thinking about that in my head, I feel like we have kind of reached that point. Any brand that is primarily based in Instagram at the moment, it is kind of time to kind of reevaluate how you're going to, because Instagram is post-porn Tumblr. People are there, but they're, a lot of people are there now just for lack of an alternative. I can't think of a single fucking person that I've talked to that doesn't agree with me that I really want...
If I didn't have a brand, I wouldn't have social media.
I really want something...
Honestly.
I really want something else that is going to provide the same type of space as OG Instagram. Mm-hmm. The only thing that sucks, and this is the one and only thing I'll say, the societal thing that I'll say, is because Facebook, is whatever the fuck it's called now, is the way that it is, that's why I made the comment about if we were able to create a website or an app or whatever, I would want it to be just successful enough that it stayed under their radar.
Coming soon, Substance.
But that's the problem with Facebook, is they want to be
the only one.
The only people doing it.
No,
so we're going to try. If it starts getting a lot of traction, if people start moving over to this app, and be like, oh, that's cool, let's buy it. They're going to offer you some stupid amount that you can't ignore.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
all a monopoly at the end of the day.
That's what happened on Instagram. That's what happened on Twitter. That's what happened with all these other different social media accounts.
Yeah. It is funny you're saying about having to, relearn algorithms, blah, blah, blah. And you saying that I have the leg up on everyone else for being a video creator. Well, I've actually had to relearn everything too, because we're in the age of relatable media. Social media is where we brought everything down to earth. It's not brands now are focusing more on trying to make things that are relatable day to day for people. And so content wise, I have grown up specializing my skills in making cinematic movies, making stuff that is super high end and more tailored towards something that isn't realistic for every person to be able to create. And that doesn't do well. Because that's not what people want to watch.
But if you did the same thing that you were doing, you'd put a TikTok song behind it, then you would get a lot more views.
Exactly.
But you're not going to do that.
It's so weird how things work, and now I've had to tailor more of my content creation side of things to stuff that is more relatable. For TikTok, I will film things on my phone, because if I film it on my camera, people are like, that's a fucking video game, because they're TikTok's consumer level is so basic. These are kids that just haven't been exposed to the world yet. If they see a video that's on TikTok that is filmed on a nice camera, they don't believe it's real. And so they don't fuck with it, because they're like, that's not real, that's not authentic, blah, blah, blah. And so if you film it on an iPhone, then people are like, oh yeah, this is super dope. And so any clips that I post on TikTok are usually, iPhone videos of my car, because then people are like, that's a real car. If it's of my camera, they're like, that's a render, that's a fucking video game, it's not real, don't really care to even look at it.
For the first time
it's
in
so
a long
weird.
time, I posted a video of my car just doing donuts in the parking lot at Chase Face.
Yeah.
And in the description, I said, buy my wheels, with like a kissy face. Like, I need to sell my wheels. So I was just like, just playing around. I just want to post this video.
Yeah.
So I posted it, and it's gotten like over 9,000 likes and like 120,000 views and something ridiculous. And it's the first time anything that I've ever had went that viral.
Yeah.
And it's on my personal page. So
My,
it gives me a little hope in
Right.
Instagram's algorithm to kind of push. And there's no music behind it. It's just raw,
just a clip of
authentic,
that, yeah.
1JZ,
which
engine noise.
TikTok will take down any videos of burnouts,
I know.
donuts, and stuff,
That's
which
why I
is so
haven't done it.
annoying, because that's the stuff that will do
Yeah,
well
Chase, my boss was like trying to post more on TikTok and stuff with Chase
Yeah.
Face, and they kept taking this shit down.
on there. Hey, dude, that's
and
insane.
he would get a lot of likes. and a lot
Yet
of engagement.
TikTok will allow like literal like girls that are underage to be like showing off their damn ass on that app, and I can't do a burnout on private property. Come on.
Yeah,
just-
and
On
then
my-
you
like,
have to
on my
fight it.
property,
You have
I
to
can't do
fight
a
it and
burnout.
say, I was at an event.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was, I had
We took
insurance at
safety
an event,
precautions.
yeah.
I got a cage in my car. I got
It's
a fire.
just-
Fucking,
And
it's
so,
ridiculous.
Yeah, all of that, kind of encapsulates like why I think as brands that take themselves seriously and are not just in it just as a cash grab, like it's about that time. It's about that time to try and like start finding alternate. That's the internet. I mean, it's just going to be this constant cycle, especially now
have
with
to
the
learn
way
to
things
adapt.
are.
Yep.
You just have to, and a new app will come along. It'll have its golden days, and I guess all you can do is hope that you use that time effectively, because it will come to an end, and then a new one will start.
Yep.
And then so the cycle continues. and it's-
Evaluate, adapt, overcome.
Exactly.
You always have to be on top of this stuff.
But I think one of the coolest things to me about each, new app, as many as we are capable of getting before fucking Facebook fucks them up, is, kind of seeing what people do with them. Like, I think you think about like MySpace and shit. This is a really weird like connection, but like, you think about the level of creativity that, I guess Tumblr was like this too. Like, you could code in shit. The amount of creativity that people could have in MySpace and like Tumblr and shit like that.
That's how I learned like all my code.
Those were the days.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the amount of like space for creativity there. Say what you want about those websites, but like the amount of space for creativity and the cool pages and shit that came because of that. For me, that's kind of an exciting like challenge almost.
Oh, dude, it kind of bums me out that like Gen Z didn't really get to experience fucking MySpace. Like, I think MySpace played a huge part in like a lot of us as individuals to try and separate each other. Like we could express
Be
ourselves through
individuals,
MySpace and like make our account look really pretty, and like all of the social media apps nowadays have taken that away. Like, especially with the algorithms getting more and more ridiculous and TikTok being a trends-based app, it's like I feel like the younger generation are going to become less creative because they just don't have that like
fast pace. It's more
like you just have to be able to
notification frenzy.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
not-
You just have to be able to create something that gets attention
Not-
really fucking quickly, as opposed to like something that's really good.
Not to be, a boomer about this, but it's mindless. It's
oh, yeah.
quite
Completely
literally mindless. And it's like, that's fucked, but that's society now, so there's nothing we can change about it. I feel like I mean, you can look at it one way or the other, but what is the difficult, albeit fun challenge becomes how you can stay true to yourself and trying to be creative and, and trying to present what you want to do in the way that you want to do it in the space that it's just mindless like that. That's the challenge. Fun, shitty, whatever it may be for you. But that's why even if I'm just like, scheming in my fucking room by myself about like this idea that there has got to be a somewhat harmonious way to diversify how you're trying to put yourself out there that can be conducive to getting a new audience and new engagement and all of this stuff, where that translates to more people that are going to see and interact with your creations. You know what I mean? If not having Instagram at the end of the chain, even, evolving to not including Instagram at all. It's like I'm the same way. It's like you guys said. If I didn't have like a reason that I had to be on social media, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I've been over it for like years. I've had a Facebook for 5 years. Technically, if you look me up on Facebook, I'm on there. I've been on there like twice, and it was both for when I was working with a business and I had to have a thing. That's it. I have been off Facebook for 5 years. And I just have to ignore the fact that Instagram is run by Facebook because I use it every day for obvious reasons. Because it's like, I can be on my high horse about not having Facebook, but the joke is on me. Whatever Instagram I would have put on Facebook that is on Instagram, it's going to the same fucking place.
Yeah.
But as a brand, you need to be on every social media
You can't function
account.
without it.
You can't function without it too, but even if you weren't even thinking about getting on TikTok, you need to put your brand on TikTok.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, someone else is going to do that, and then they're going to charge you to get that account back, or, you're just shit out of fucking luck. It happened to me with Twitter. Someone claimed my Twitter account. I was still not able to get it. And now I have OkeyDoke Brand.
That's frustrating.
OkeyDoke Brand _ And so that's kind of unnerving, and it just kind of pisses me off. I could never.
Yeah, people just capitalize on seeing that you're not on that account and take the fucking
But
name.
it was so quick, too. Like, we made our Instagram, we made a few posts, and I was like, I'm going to make a Twitter, and I go to log in, and someone had already
That's
taken it.
wild.
And I could never find out who did it. Someone just did it in spite of me, and thank you, I guess.
Yeah.
I finally made one.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Well, I guess if there's a way that I can kind of summarize or like bring this to more of a positive note before we end this off, is just like, if you're passionate about something, whether it's brands, cars, whatever it is, like, have fun with it. Like, that's really going to be the way, like, long term that you're going to be able to keep doing it. Is you have to keep it fun. You have to keep it at a level where it doesn't stress you out too much. And ultimately, like, if you're putting out stuff that is a good reflection of you and is stuff that you like and you enjoy, you will find somebody else that fucks with it. You will find multiple other people that fuck with it. You shouldn't be putting things out for the sake of, appeasing others or doing something.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be doing something that you think is just going to appease, what a certain demographic wants. To an extent, yes, you should always, tailor to your audience, but at the same time, build your audience so that it's an extension of you. Like, the people that are fucking with the stuff that you're putting out is the people that you want to be you'd want to be friends with those people. They're people that you fuck with yourself. And so I think that this was a good episode. We talked about a lot of things related to brand and passion. Like, I'm stoked. This was cool, and I hope for anybody listening at home that there was some value in this for you. Whether you're into brands, you have a brand or not, whether you're just an enthusiast that likes cars, there's a lot to be taken in on this. And if you are just that person that doesn't have a brand, you're a consumer, which kind of has a negative connotation. If you're somebody that goes to car shows and you buy merchandise, talk to the guys, find out what it is that they do, find more about their brand, talk to them, get an idea for their vibe and their ideas behind their brand and what it is that they want to do, and make your decisions on purchasing stuff based off of that person, that brand, whether you fuck with them. Don't just buy it just because it's like, oh, this fucking shirt has like a really dope car on it or something. Like, I mean, some people will do that, but
sadness.
Or that, yeah, we've touched on that. Definitely don't. But I don't know. You have anything else to add, Matt?
I mean, nothing. Honestly, I'll just nothing that I can formulate right now. I just want to appreciate you for coming on, dude. This is
Thank you so much, Dustin, for making the trip.
Yeah, this is. I've known, like, since we talked about having guests, you were literally like right there for me, because you and I have always had really good conversations about like the state of all of this stuff. We agree on the
same things, and
and I've because of that, I know, biased as I may be, I consider myself a pretty logical person. It's very, what the fuck? Observant.
Yeah.
I'm always this close to saying observative, but it's observant. I consider myself a pretty observant person, and you have always been able to, match me tit for tat on a lot of that kind of stuff. And
even if I'm like super tired at a show and I'm like,
see,
because there's times where we'll have a conversation and we'll be in it, and then I just blank out. And I'm
Yeah,
like-
I was
and I'm
going to say
like,
the
I gotta do
few
something
times
else.
that we've
Yeah.
really had a conversation has just been like
Because
maybe 20 minutes I have at the end of the show after I'm done at the booth. I'll come
Yeah.
over and say what's up and
I'm
ask how
like
you
90
doing. Like,
to nothing. the
yeah,
whole
like
day,
we're
and even
both
the
of us are
week before.
basically clocked out.
Well,
yeah.
you know what's funny is I literally thought about that immediately after I was like, and talked to Dustin. I almost went, well, just say hi to Dustin.
Yeah.
Because you have like a million fucking things going on. People are like,
Oh,
hey
yeah.
man, they told me on the podcast, come up and have a conversation with you. And then you have to
Well,
be like,
see now we actually have help. Like Emily helps me every year, and she
Yeah.
kills it. She knows how to run the booth, and I can trust her to do things when I'm
Oh, yeah.
away or if I have to step away, and I can, she can step away if she needs to. Last year we had some friends help us, and it was a blessing. I
Yeah.
was able
Oh,
to
absolutely.
walk around for the first time. It's been 6 years since I've been able. Actually, I've never walked around at Riverside. I've always
That's
been stuck
such
in
a
10 by
bummer.
10.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way about
so
that too.
I actually got to walk around and
Like,
hang out.
I've hired people to help me run the booth and like found some people that are a good fit, and it's definitely nice. But I also can't bring myself to walk away from the booth.
I enjoy
because
being in the
Yeah,
booth.
I know that
But
when
I also
people
want to be out for a little bit.
Yeah, I know that when people come up, like a lot of people would like to have a conversation with me, and that's not me trying to be big-headed. It's a lot of people that watch the videos, they want to come up and say what's up and chat to me about cars and stuff, and I love that. But yeah, for Riverside especially, like I really want to get away from the booth and just like get in my creative element and like shoot some cars. I also want to like talk to owners about their cars. Like that was the really nice thing about yesterday. We went to Southern Fresh, and it's like that's the first time I've been
their
to.
brain. You
Yeah,
put it on camera.
the guy with that Maxima, like I talked to him for
yeah,
an hour.
we were in the parking lot
about
with him
his fucking car.
Oh, yeah. That
And
thing
like,
was fucking crazy.
yeah, it's just it's so fucking cool to like have that. Like the guy didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. We were just talking like enthusiasts. We were literally just talking about his car. I love that. I do get real tired of like talking about my stuff at shows. Like a lot of people will come up and be like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like we'll chit
Feels
chat
good
and
to
then
talk to somebody else about.
yeah,
their
and then they're asking questions about the car and like, "Oh, I saw you got the Crown Majesta," and just talking about stuff like that. And I'm like, I do all of my own stuff. I kind of get tired of just talking about myself. I really would like to talk to other people about their cars.
That's exhausting.
That's what I love. Like, it's really exhausting talking about myself. It makes me fucking feel like a damn narcissist the whole time. I'm like, yeah, dude, I got this and this. I'm like, I don't want to talk about my shit. I'm fucking tired of my car. Like, I'm glad that
It's a
people
piece of
love
shit.
it. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
when I go to shows, I really want to like talk about other shit. So if you guys do come up to the booth, like I love talking to people, but like, dude, tell me about your fucking car. Tell me about what you have going on. Like, I love that. But anyways, this was a good episode, and thank you, Dustin, for coming out. And if you guys are coming to Riverside, make sure you swing by the Okey Doke booth, and you can plug your Instagram and your site and stuff for anybody that can't make it.
Personal Instagram is just at Okey_Dustin, and then
It's OKEY, right?
OKEY_Dustin. Mm-hmm. And then my brand pages for Instagram are OkeyDoke Brand all together, and then Twitter is, like I said before, at OkeyDoke Brand _. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, you got to add a little thing on the end of it.
Yeah, don't follow the one without the underscore. Fuck
And
that.
then my
fuck that
website, my website's also just www.okeydokebrand.com.
Yeah. So go support him. Great dude, great brand, and we hope to
Super
see
great
more
dude.
stuff. Yeah.
Super. I know him better. Super great dude.
Thanks for having me.
But yeah, no, this was awesome. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you post in the comments any of your thoughts. So we'd love to hear and kind of engage with you guys on that. And
And
if you're
not for nothing, Liam was like, how do you guys feel about the Discord in the comments or whatever?
oh, for real, let us know.
I think I'm going to go ahead and say even if it's just me, I'm going to start kind of learning about it. Because I think that finding a mod may be kind of interesting, because neither me or Liam, for different reasons, would be able to keep up with it enough to be a mod. But I feel like I could get that figured out. But I would like to give you guys kind of a space to, whether it's talking amongst yourselves or like to us, because like I said, I think at this point that is a really good, really direct alternative to like a fucking comment section.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
So so all that to say, I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm going to try and get, however simple it may be at the beginning, a Discord server going for this podcast. So
it would be cool for sure.
We will keep you guys updated on that.
If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, again, go give this.
We don't know what it means,
go give this podcast 5 stars. We don't know what that does yet, but stars, cool. And yeah, if you,
I just like what he said last time. It was like, you like stars? We like stars. Everybody likes stars.
Everybody likes stars. Just don't stick them on the side of your car, dude.
Or broken hearts.
Yeah.
Stop.
But yeah, please give us 5 stars, and we really appreciate everybody that every week when this episode goes live, all of the people that are sharing it on their story and tagging, either me, Matt, or our guest, or tagging Substance on Instagram. Which, if you want to follow it, it's at Substance Show or Substance_show. Please post this on your story and tag it. It's awesome to see all those really, every week.
Yeah, on a personal level, like I will tell you that. When people, whether it's just tagging the show, but obviously, especially when you tag me, Substance Matt, like, it sounds really cheesy, but like that makes my day, dude. That feels like a really
right. It's a good feeling that we're
a really personal, compliment and acknowledgement that like you're into what we're talking about. So it's like we have a lot of fun doing this, regardless if anybody even cared. But like, when I get stuff like that on a very personal Matt Clavijo level, like I really appreciate that. I really appreciate anybody that does that a lot. So
100%.
We appreciate it when you guys, share and spread the word and do all that. And it's when that happens, it just gets better. I mean, it just gets better
Absolutely.
and better. We're able to get, more people on and talk about bigger things. So
sky's the limit with this. Like we do have a lot of guests that are very much out of our reach right now. But the more people that are involved with this and like it, the more possibilities there are for us to get guests on that are, up there that would be very difficult to get a hold of. And we really want to use this to just, get perspectives. That's all it is. It's just good conversation. It's different perspectives, opens your minds to stuff. So the more that we can do that, the better. And we really appreciate you guys for being a part of it. And we'll be back once again next week for another episode. Not sure what that will be yet. It'll be a surprise. We said this last episode, how we're going to top the last one. And fucking Matt was like, yeah, I'm going to get Dustin on right now. So we made that work. But
Can't promise it's always going to work like that.
Yeah. But we do have a few things that we're excited about in the works. There's a possibility this podcast may be at an event soon. Not going to talk on that because I don't want to put it out there and it not come through. This was something that was suggested to us yesterday by somebody who hosts a very large event, and we are trying to figure out what we can do to make it work. So we'll keep you updated. You may hear some news on that next week. But again, appreciate you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
I want to say I want to say Verone's thing so bad. It'd be like, stay substantial.
Oh. Well, no, because that Substantial is another brand that is a friend of mine's.
Say substantial. I'm so sorry. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. We appreciate you.
Bye.